What's up, Brew Crew? Welcome back to your #1 news channel for all things Milwaukee Brewers. This is your trusted insider, bringing you the hottest and most exclusive information straight from the source in the style you've come to expect. Before I dive into the bombshell I have for you today, I need to ask for that usual favor. If you're a die-hard Brewers fan and want to get in-depth analysis and breaking news you won't find anywhere else, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your subscription is what allows me to keep bringing this exclusive content directly to our community. Don't miss out, join our family, and let's ride out this season together. Alright, let's get down to business. The MLB trade deadline on July 31st is fast approaching, and I've been saying for weeks that the Milwaukee Brewers front office, led by Matt Arnold, has an obligation, and more than that has earned the right to be aggressive in the market. And why do I say that? Because this team has earned this position. As we look at the standings today, July 9th, we see a team with a 52-40 record. We are a season best 12 games over .500. We are firmly holding the second wildcard spot in the National League. And most importantly, we are just 2.5 games behind the Chicago Cubs in the tight race for the top of the NL Central. This isn't a mirage, folks. This is the result of a resilient, well-coached team with a core of talent that is proving its worth night in and night out. We aren't the Los Angeles Dodgers or the New York Mets with their stratospheric payrolls, and we never pretend to be. Our strength comes from intelligence, player development, and a winning culture that has been meticulously built. And that is precisely why, when an opportunity arises to add an impact piece, a piece that could be the difference between an early playoff exit and a serious World Series run, we have to act. And the news I'm bringing you today, based on very reliable sources and a buzz that is growing louder in league circles, is that the Brewers have identified their primary target. A name that could electrify our lineup and bring a championship pedigree to our clubhouse. On Tuesday, the respected analyst Greg Amsinger of MLB Network made a bold and, in my opinion, extremely well-founded prediction. He stated unequivocally, Adolis Garcia will get traded. He's the #1 target for the Milwaukee Brewers. Amsinger went further, contextualizing the team's need. I know Andrew Vaughn's over there from the White Sox. He's not the right-handed power bat they need. Rhys Hoskins is on the IL. They need an outfielder that's got slug. Adolis Garcia hitting behind Christian Yelich is going to make a really good Brewers team even better. Let's break this down with the depth the news deserves. Adolis El Bombi Garcia, the 32-year-old Cuban outfielder for the Texas Rangers. The name alone carries immense weight. We are talking about the 2023 ALCS MVP, a player who, in moments of maximum pressure, elevated his game to a legendary level and carried the Rangers to a World Series title. That experience, that proven ability to perform under the brightest lights of October, is something that cannot be manufactured. It is an intangible asset of immeasurable value for a team like ours, which is looking to take the next step. Of course, as a serious analyst, I cannot ignore the current season's numbers, and yes, they are a cause for concern. In 2025, Garcia has not been the same offensive monster we've seen in the past. He has just 10 home runs and a disappointing 658 OPS, on base plus slugging, numbers that represent a sharp decline from his 2023 All-Star campaign when he blasted 39 homers and was one of the most feared forces in the league. The Rangers' offense as a whole has struggled, and Garcia seems to be one of the victims of this downturn. Defensively, he remains an elite player, a gold glover, which in itself makes him a perfect fit for the Brewers' defense-first philosophy. But the bet here is not on the player he is today, but on the player we know he can be. The front office's thesis, and my analysis corroborates this, is that Adolis Garcia is a classic change of scenery candidate. Sometimes a player needs a new environment, new teammates, a new playoff race to reignite that spark. And what better scenario for him than ours? Imagine the protection he would offer in the lineup. With Christian Yelich having an MVP caliber season, opposing pitchers could no longer afford to pitch around him. They would be forced to challenge Yelich, knowing that Adolis Garcia is on deck. And if Garcia came up next with runners on base, the pressure would completely shift. The dynamic of our offense would be transformed overnight. Adding a right-handed bat with this latent power, even in a down year, fills our biggest void, as pointed out by various analyses, including from MLB. The Brewers' biggest need at the trade deadline is power. We are flirting with our least powerful offensive season since 1976. That is an alarming statistic that must be addressed if we want to compete in October. Garcia is the most obvious and impactful solution available. He isn't just another body, he's a statement of intent. It's the front office telling the team and the brew crew, we believe in you and we're going all in to chase this title. And the best part, he wouldn't be a mere 2-month rental. Garcia is under contract through the end of the 2026 season, which means we would have a year and a half of control over a player who, if he rediscovers his form, could be one of the biggest bargains in the league. This is the play. This is the move that puts us on another level. Deepening our analysis of the potential acquisition of Adolis Garcia, it is crucial to dissect the intricacies of such a trade and what it would represent for the Milwaukee Brewers structure, both in the short and long term. The first question every fan is asking is, what would it cost to bring El Bombi to Milwaukee? Here, Garcia's current situation plays in our favor. His subpar offensive performance in 2025, combined with his $25 million salary this season, lowers his trade value compared to what it would have been a year ago. Sources indicate that the Texas Rangers, disappointed with their team's performance, may be more interested in shedding payroll and retooling their roster than in obtaining a package of top-tier prospects. This opens a window of opportunity for Matt Arnold. I'm not suggesting we'll get Garcia for nothing, but it's plausible that we could close a deal without having to give up our premier prospects, like Jackson Chourio, who is already on the main roster, Tyler Black, or Jacob Misiorowski. A package centered on mid-level players, perhaps a bullpen arm with some team control and 1 or 2 prospects from our top 15 could be enough to seal the deal. It would be a masterclass in negotiation, acquiring a player with an all-star potential who fills a critical need without mortgaging the long-term future of the organization. Garcia's impact extends far beyond the numbers on paper. We need to talk about the mentality he would bring to our clubhouse. This is a player of contagious intensity. Who can forget his explosive celebrations, his evident passion for the game during the Rangers' postseason run? He is a catalyst in a long and grueling 162-game season, followed by the pressure of the playoffs. Having a player like him can be the missing fuel. He would inject a dose of swagger, confidence, and a fearless attitude that can inspire the entire roster. Placing him alongside established leaders like Yelich and William Contreras would create a formidable trio, not only in terms of talent, but also of competitive personality. The risk versus reward narrative is central here. The risk is clear. We acquire a player who continues his slump and fails to find his rhythm at the plate. In that scenario, we would have added a good defensive outfielder with a moderate contract. It wouldn't be a complete disaster. The reward, however, is monumental. If the move to Milwaukee and the thrill of a new playoff race awaken the 2023 version of Adolis Garcia, we would have acquired mid-season one of the most impactful hitters in baseball for a relatively low cost. A player capable of hitting 20 home runs in the second half of the season and changing the course of a playoff series with a single swing. That is a calculated risk that a team in our position must be willing to take. Let's think strategically about roster construction for October. The playoffs are a different game. Power, especially the ability to score runs with one swing of the bat, the home run, becomes exponentially more valuable. In short series, facing opposing aces, the ability to capitalize on a single mistake is what separates winners from losers. Currently, our offense is built on contact, putting the ball in play, and speed on the bases. It's an effective style, one that has gotten us this far, but it is vulnerable against elite high strikeout pitchers. Adding Garcia gives us another dimension. He gives us the plan B, the constant threat of the long ball. The thought of having Yelich, Garcia, Contreras, and Hoskins when he returns from injury in the heart of the batting order is terrifying for any opposing coaching staff. It would make us one of the most complete and difficult offenses to game plan against in the National League. Finally, I want to speak directly to the Brew crew, to each and every one of you. The acquisition of Adolis Garcia would not just be a smart baseball move, It would be a sign of respect from the front office to our passion. It would be a confirmation that they see what we see, a real window of opportunity to win it all. The atmosphere at American Family Field is already electric, but imagine the energy, the anticipation, every time El Bombi stepped up to the plate in a high-pressure game in September or October. It would be historic. This move has the potential to galvanize the fan base, to pack the stadium, and to create a wave of momentum that can carry us through the postseason. That is why, despite the risks, I am all in on this pursuit. He is the missing piece of the puzzle. In summary, the main story is clear and exciting. The Milwaukee Brewers, capitalizing on their excellent position this season, are aiming high and have Adolis Garcia as their primary target for the trade deadline. Despite his subpar offensive season, his proven playoff track record, his latent power, and his elite defense make him the ideal candidate to fill the power void in our lineup. The negotiation is complex, but the opportunity to acquire a player of his caliber for a potentially reduced cost and with a year and a half of team control is simply too good to pass up. This is the kind of bold, calculated move that can define a season and turn a good team into a champion. Now, I want to hear from you, the Brew Crew. I believe my analysis is the most comprehensive you will find, but your opinion is crucial. Is Adolis Garcia the final piece we need to get to the World Series, or is the risk of his current slump too great for the price we'd have to pay? Leave your opinions, your arguments, and your predictions in the comments below. Let's start a serious, passionate debate about the future of our team. And to ensure you don't miss any updates on this and other breaking news stories with in-depth, no-nonsense analysis, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Things are going to heat up significantly in the coming weeks, and I'll be here to cover every detail for you the moment it happens.